Abigail Rooney is a professional makeup artist and holistic aesthetician. She strongly believes beauty is a birthright, education is power, and makeup and skincare are a physical, emotional, and spiritual journey. Having watched her own mother struggle and overcome illness, it sparked in her a commitment to taking care of herself holistically. After years of working in the green beauty industry, Abigail is thrilled to share her knowledge and the transformative power of clean beauty and skincare with Lipstick Angels patients as their regional director for the San Francisco Bay Area. Abigail is a self-taught makeup artist and studied aesthetics at the Avita Institute in San Francisco. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Abigail Rooney.
Hi, everyone. So nice to meet you all. As mentioned, my name is Abigail. I am the Bay Area Program Director for Lipstick Angels. And today I'm so excited to be sharing with you all some self-care practices. So today we have a few exercises that we will be doing together. I'm also going to speak briefly on the importance of self-care and clean beauty. And I want to note that for the first 50 people who signed up, Lipstick Angels sent out little packages with some goodies to follow along. But if you did not receive a package or you have yet to receive your package, don't worry, you can still participate. I will be showing some techniques that require nothing but your fingers and your breath, and also showing some tips and tricks on how to do brows and brow mapping, which if you don't have your brow stencil or pencil, that's fine. You can still follow along. Or if you would like to run and grab your brow pencil, you're more than welcome to do that now. So I'll go ahead and just give everyone about one more minute, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So I want to say thank you to the BACC. We are so honored to be here and be a part of this, and we are so excited to be sharing these practices with you all. It's been a stressful week for many reasons, the pandemic being one, and also elections being another. So I think self-care is very important right now. I find that these exercises have been something that I've been leaning on all week long, and I'm really excited to share it with you all today. So again, my name is Abigail. I work for an organization called Lipstick Angels. And for those of you who aren't familiar with us, we are a nonprofit organization that offers complimentary skincare and beauty services to cancer patients in the hospital while they're receiving their chemotherapy infusions. And also we teach beauty and wellness classes once a month at the BACC and also at our other hospital partners as well too. We're really excited to be here today and be sharing these practices, some of which we do in the hospital with patients. And we're excited to show you all how we do it. So if you're ready now, I'm going to mention just a little bit about self-care. So self-care is a very broad term that is used often today and can vary depending upon whom you're speaking with. But personally, how I like to define self-care is anything that nourishes you and fills your cup. So I'm sure most of you have heard the term, you can't pour from an empty cup. And that is so very true. So I like to think of self-care as the well that nourishes and refills that cup. That can be physical self-care. So today we're going to be doing some physical acts that help contribute to better well-being. It can be spiritual. If you have spiritual practices, that's another form of self-care. Emotional, so calling a friend, talking to your therapist, those are all forms of emotional self-care. So there's many different forms of self-care, and today we're going to focus on physical self-care. And the reason why I want to mention clean beauty is because working with cancer patients, we are finding out more and more that our environment is a big contributor to oncology and the rise in oncology these days. So it is very important. And one of the first steps for a lot of patients is to actually go through a lot of the products that they have at home and start to clean out their cabinets so that they are no longer using products with ingredients that have carcinogens, parabens, sulfates, a lot of things that can negatively impact one's health when used in mass quantities. So clean beauty is an emerging field, and it is so important. It can be very overwhelming to try to navigate by oneself. So if you are interested in switching over to clean beauty and feeling a little overwhelmed, I highly recommend checking out Credo Beauty. It is a clean beauty retailer similar to Sephora, but they sell skincare, beauty, and body care. And all of it is vetted and non-toxic. It's something I love to offer to patients as well too, because they're looking to switch out their products at home and they're feeling just totally overwhelmed on where to start. So I really love Credo Beauty. You can also download an app for the Environmental Working Group and Think Dirty. Those are both apps you can download on your phone, and you can scan your products at home and it'll give you a rating on 1 to 10 of how clean or dirty your product is. So it's really important as consumers that we're aware of the products that we're putting on our body and why we're choosing to use them and what's in them, much like we would food. So I like to think of my skincare and my beauty care similar to how I think of food and the way that I eat. So anything that I'm putting into or onto my body, I really want to make sure it's not going to be harmful to my health long term. So please, if you have any questions around clean beauty, don't be a stranger. Our name is Lipstick Angels, and we are here for you. So for our first portion today, we are going to focus on skincare. And so before we jump into anything, I would like to start with some aromatherapy and some deep breathing. So if you happen to have essential oils at home, even like an orange or fruit or something that's aromatic, spices, things like that, something that would be soothing to you, please feel free to grab that. For those of you that received our beauty bag, you will have this mini aromatherapy roller. You'll have it in cups dispensed on a cotton round. And so you either received the stress remedy or the sleep remedy. Both of them are lavender blends. And lavender, as we all mostly probably know, is really wonderful for stress reduction. So among many things, but the main thing being lavender is great to help reduce stress and anxiety. So before we dive in today, I would like you all to find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down, and really just feel into your chair and what's holding you. And when you're ready, go ahead and get your aromatherapy ready. And we are going to find a spot where you can still smell your essential oil, but where it's not too close so that it's overwhelming, and not too far away so that you can't smell it. So take a second just to play around with distance and see what feels right for you. And when you find that sweet spot, we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll start by taking a nice deep breath in and exhale. And another nice deep breath in and exhale. And notice what it feels like to have both feet planted firmly on the ground. And you can think of your feet as roots reaching down into the earth, keeping you solid and stable. And if you're laying down, notice what it feels like to have your back rested against the ground and to have the surface holding you. And notice as you inhale deeply, anywhere in your body that you're holding stress and tension. And gently invite your breath to those areas, releasing stress and tension with every exhale. So taking a nice deep breath in and exhaling out. And notice as you scan up your body, how it feels when you invite breath in. Notice how it feels to have your back held by another surface, and really lean into that. Without judgment, simply noticing. How does it feel to let breath into your body? Slowly bringing your awareness to your chest. And noticing what it feels like to be with your chest as it rises and falls with each breath. Now together, we're going to take a big breath, as big as we can take. Taking a nice inhale in and exhaling out. Making any adjustments needed. And we're going to take a couple more breaths as we slowly gather ourselves and bring ourselves back into the room. You may want to start wiggling your toes, softening your eyes, maybe doing some movements that feel right. And when you're ready, we'll all come back into the room together. Thank you all so much for breathing with me. Aromatherapy is something that is thousands of years old and has been used by multiple different traditions. It's used today in many ways. It can be a quite potent medicine, especially using essential oils undiluted on the skin. That can be quite dangerous, so I don't recommend that unless you've talked to a professional. But using our breath is incredible. You don't even need an essential oil to do breath work. And I love that plant medicines and breath work together can provide such calming effects on the body and one's nervous systems. So if you're waiting in line and you're feeling stressed and anxious, always coming back to your breath, taking a nice deep breath in, and really just noticing what your body's like, what you're holding, any areas that may be unconsciously tight, and really inviting your breath to help loosen and relax those areas. It helps to calm the nervous system and bring oneself home to themselves. So I highly recommend these practices. It's something that, again, I love to do throughout the day. I've been doing it a lot this week and will continue to do so in the future. So the second exercise that I wanted to share with you all today is going to be facial reflexology. So reflexology is a practice that is traditionally used in Chinese medicine, and it is the practice of using certain points on the body to help restore balance and homeostasis to the internal body systems. So facial reflexology specifically works with the points on the face to help restore balance throughout the body. So today I'm going to be walking you all through a facial reflexology exercise that is specifically catered towards stress and anxiety relief. It works with the nervous system among multiple other body systems to help calm, restore, and balance. So when you're ready, we'll go ahead and take a deep breath in. I always like to warm up my hands. So for reflexology, you can use like a ballpoint pen, like the tip of a pen, or you can use your fingers. I tend to use my fingers. I work best with my hands. I love the connection. So before that, I will invite you all to warm up your hands, get your energy flowing, and we'll go ahead and we'll start with the first point. So the first point is going to be along the bridge of your nose right here. So it's going to be right at the tip of the bridge of your nose, right before your forehead starts. So go ahead using a medium to firm pressure, really press down into this point. Always inviting your breath. So hanging out here for at least 1 to 2 breath cycles. As we go along, you may notice some points that may feel a little spicier than others, and I recommend staying in these points a little bit longer. Our next point is going to be right in the center of the brows here. So go ahead using your finger, just press into this spot here. Taking a nice deep breath in and exhaling out. So our third point here is going to be right in the center of the forehead. This point is connected to the mind. So I really love when I'm feeling stressed to kind of press into this point. And you may notice a divot, like right here, I can feel kind of a divot or a cave. And that's a good indicator that you're in the right spot. If you don't feel that divot, don't worry. You won't always feel that in every spot, and it doesn't mean you're in the wrong spot. So just really pressing in, taking a nice deep breath out. So for our fourth point here, we are going to be pressing just above the brow, so just above the start of the brow. And I'm using my index finger, so pressing in with both index fingers into this point, using a medium to firm pressure. And really inviting breath in. So we're going to be moving along to the outward part of the brow. So right here by the arch. So you can see the highest point of my brow before it starts to go down. This is the arch. So we're going to be pressing into that point on both sides there. Taking a nice deep breath in and exhaling. And you may notice you might want to make little circles. This spot's a little spicier for me, so I'm going to hang out here for a second more. And really feel into your body. Is it wanting more pressure? Is it wanting less pressure? Does it feel good to do those little circles? Or is it better just to hang out on that spot directly? And now I'm gonna bring together my index and my middle finger and just rub my temples in nice large circular motions. Taking a nice deep breath in. I'll end by applying just a little bit of pressure. I tend to go a little lighter on my temples than on the rest of the points. So the next point we're going to do is right at the high point of the ear, where the ear connects to the jaw. So pressing in on both sides here. So right with my index finger, using a medium to firm pressure. And taking a nice deep breath in and exhale. One more deep breath in. And exhaling out. So our next point is going to be in the center of the ear. So right in front of this point here, right along the jaw. So these points are great if you are someone like myself who tends to clench your jaw. If you hold a lot of stress in your jaw, this point is going to be very relieving. So using whatever pressure feels right to you. I'm using a medium to firm pressure and really just pressing down and holding. And for our final point, we are going to be going along the jaw right here. So right just below the earlobe, right where the lower jaw connects to the upper mandible there. So really pressing into this point. These are really spicy for me. So taking a nice deep breath in and exhaling out. So this sequence is something that you can do when you're flying on an airplane, if you're on a long road trip, if you're feeling stressed out in the kitchen, really anywhere that you have clean fingers and you're needing to relax. This is a great sequence to do. I like to also just kind of massage my jaw area out when I'm done. And this really helps just to kind of melt away all my stress and tension. And I like to finish by doing some large circles with my hands around my face, really moving the energy. And bringing it down. And you can even shake your hands out afterwards, really shake all that energy out. Get that energy moving and flowing through your body. We'll take a nice deep breath in. And really notice, how does it feel after doing that exercise? How does it feel to check in with your body now versus how is your body feeling before doing that? And really noticing, do you feel less stressed, less anxious? Can you stand taller? Do you feel stronger? And really just taking a moment to be with that. So when we're ready, we are going to transition into beauty. So, skincare, so important, such a great form of self-care. And so is beauty. And that's one thing we see in particular with working with oncology patients. A lot of them feel like don't feel like themselves, or they lost a part of their identity because they may be experiencing brow loss or hair loss, or their skin's dry and they're just really not feeling themselves. So I love cosmetics because it's one way that you can express your artistic side, and you can also use it as a tool to help reclaim parts of your identity. So today I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks. In the goodie bag we sent out, we also mailed out a brow stencil and a brow pencil. So brow mapping, you can use, you don't need a stencil to do brow mapping. You can do it just by using your brow pencil, or if you have this stencil and you want to learn how to use it, I will show you how to do today. So on the stencil, you have you have a 1, a 3, and then a 2. So I'm going to be referring to it as 1, 2, 3. I don't know why they did these two that way, but so we're going to start by finding where your brow starts. So go ahead, take your pencil, and I'm going to switch to a different one. This is a little darker so you can see it better. So start by taking your pencil and either twist it up or make sure it's nice and sharp. And how you find where your brow starts is by finding this divot in your nose where your nostril starts to flare out. So finding this divot, and take your pencil and line it straight up and just mark upward like that. So you can see this is where my brow naturally starts. But if you have thin or sparse brows, or if you lost your brows completely, this is one way to guarantee that you will always know exactly where your natural brow is supposed to start. It's also great for if you're tweezing your brows and you want to know which hairs need to go. Doing this will teach you how to do that. So really making those marks so you can see from even far away where my brow is going to start. And so if you're using the stencil, you're going to take this number 1 right here, and you are going to line it up with the start of that brow. And then the rest of your brow should fall seamlessly into place there. So that's how you figure out where your brow starts. The next point I'm going to show you is the arch of your brow. So from the same spot as before, so from this divot in the nose, we are now going to move to the arch of the brow. So from the divot going diagonally across your pupil. So if you're looking straight ahead in a mirror or at the computer camera like I am, you're going to look straight ahead and make sure that this is diagonal and move upward. So you can tell from this point right here that this is about right. So again, the arch of your brow grows out like this, and then it starts to shift at some point. So the arch is going to be that transitional point of the brow where your brow hairs start to grow down and not out. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So taking my brow pencil and going diagonally across my pupil and upward, and just marking this point here. So you can see that's a little, that's about spot on where my arch is. And so if you're using the stencil, you're going to be looking for number 3 to line number 3 up with that. I like to call it number 2 because it's the second step in my opinion, but I don't want to confuse you either. So taking your stencil, and you can see lining it up with 1, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but that mark right there is what I marked. And when you press the stencil down, it's right on that point. So you can guarantee that your brows are going to be even, that they're in the right place, and that they're going to be the right shape for your face. So for the last part of brow mapping is going to be finding the end of the brow or your brow length. So that is the only point out of all of this that's different. So for the first 2 points, we went from the start of the nose here. And for this last point, you're going to go from the outward point of the nostril. So from the edge of the nostril, moving upward here. And you can see that's where my brow ends naturally. So just marking that. You can also just make a line like that as well too, and then erase it from there. And I'm going to show you on this side as well too. So diagonally from this outward part of my nostril, moving forward and just marking that line there. So this is brow mapping. So it'll show you where your brow starts, your arch, and the end of your brow. So from here, you can either freehand fill in your brow, or you can use your stencil. So this is point number 2, is the edge of the brow there. So mapping them out. So you can either fill in your stencil like so, doing light feather-like strokes. This is a nice, quick, seamless way to do this in the morning if you don't have that much time. But I always like to still go through and freehand a little bit. So one really critical piece when you're filling in your brows, if you can tell, naturally, brows are a little bit more sparse here in the front. And if you fill them in really dark, it's going to close the front of your face off and give you kind of angry looking brows. So we don't want that. So remember when you're filling in this part to keep it very sparse. So I always like to start with the outer part of the brow because it's a little denser and you go a little thicker. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to fill in this part of my brow. And I'm using about a medium pressure. I'm using medium pressure and I'm filling it in completely. So I'm making sure it is nice and full looking. And for this arch here, you can tell I have some sparseness here. So just to make sure I'm filling this in so that it looks nice and thick. And really completing my arch so that it's more defined. And if you fill it in, like this is too dark for me, especially because I did that mark and I don't want my brows to look too sharpied. So I'm gonna take a spoolie. This is like, you can take a clean mascara wand, like an old mascara wand, and just clean it off if you don't have one of these at home, or they sell them at CVS, Walgreens. It's something you can pick up. Some brow pencils like this one have an attachment to it. But I really love them because they don't not only brush your brows into place, but you can also use them when the product's too heavy. So really to lighten up this part of the brow back here, I'm really just gonna brush this through and kind of lighten up. I also like to take my finger sometimes and really sharpen this end point here to make it nice and defined. So really filling that in. And you can see the arch is nice and defined now, and I have more of a sharp point there. So for the rest of my brow, I'm going to fill it in a little thinner. So I'm not filling in completely, but I'm noticing where I have areas that are a little sparse. So up here, you can see it's a little more sparse. So I'm going to take my pencil and just kind of run it along here, connecting it to my arch, to thicken up my brow a little bit. And then down here, there's some areas that are a little sparse. So going in here with light feather-like strokes, just filling that in. And then just brushing through. So right here, you can see I have a nice big mark there. So I'm going to just diffuse that a little bit. And for the front of your brow, to mimic brow hairs, I'm going to show you this technique. and it'll give the appearance of big bushy brows. So instead of filling it in on the side like this or like this, we're gonna take it like a pencil, like so, and you're gonna flick it in an upward motion. So we're gonna flick it across, giving a couple spaces in between to really give the illusion of having nice bushy brows. So starting where my brow hair starts, I'm gonna do one line directly upward, and then I'm gonna do another line a little bit to the side, and another line a little bit more spaced out there. And I'm just gonna go across my brow like so. And then I'm gonna brush it through. So that's a little too high. So just taking it down just a little bit. So that gives the illusion of having bushier, fuller brows. So same thing on this side. So I'm just gonna quickly fill in this side here. So from the arch, you're gonna go on a downward angle. Really filling out the edge of that brow there. And I'm gonna diffuse some of the marks I made. And then filling in any sparse areas here. So really just lightly filling in my brow. And same thing underneath here. I have some sparsity here, so a couple light strokes. And then I'm gonna fill it in. Giving the illusion of brow hairs. So just a few strokes in the beginning. And when I'm all done, I'm just gonna brush my brows into place. So you can see nice full brows. So this is a little darker than I would normally do, but I like to go darker for presentations so you all can see it a little bit more. So I hope that wasn't too complicated and that was easy enough to understand. I'll leave some time at the end for questions as well too that we can go over. So we will go ahead and hop into the last part of our demonstration today, and that is going to be a lip. So for those of you who had the package, you were sent this beautiful, nice holiday gloss and a chapstick as well too. The chapstick's a great everyday wear, and this is a great festive gloss going into the holidays. So I'll show you all just a very quick lip demo. So whenever you're applying lipstick, lip gloss, anything with a bold color, you're gonna wanna start by shading in your Cupid's bow first. So really taking my gloss along the edge of my line, placing it, dragging it up. When I get to the peak, I pull it down. And so that outlines the top of my brow, or excuse me, the top of my lip bow. And then same thing on this bottom part. So lining along the edge and bringing that up so I know where to fill in. And then from there, pressing my lips together, and then I'll connect the dots. So making sure it's a nice smooth line on each side. You can always tilt your head down to make sure that that is nice and symmetrical. You can lift it up to make sure that that line is symmetrical, and just looking in a mirror to make sure that these edges line up with each other. And that is a quick 30-second bold red lip. All right, you all, we are near the end of our time here together, and I want to leave some time open for some questions. So I believe that Jeanette will be running the Q&A.
Yes, thank you so much, Abigail, for the demonstration and for teaching us how to, relax and take care of our face and our skin. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
To everybody joining us, if you have any questions, please type those into the Q&A box, and we'll get to some of those that you had during the presentation. So Abigail, at the beginning, you mentioned a website where people can purchase clean beauty products. Can you just remind us of the website additional time?
Yeah, so it's called Credo Beauty, CREDO Beauty, and their website is www.credobeauty.com.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And where can we buy brow stencils and other items like that?
Yes, that's a great question. So Amazon actually sells some brow stencils. I've heard patients have gotten really affordable ones off there. These are from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So they make some brow stencils, and also Elf Cosmetics makes really good brow stencils as well too.
Perfect. Is Lipstick Angels doing any other virtual classes or presentations during this time?
Not officially yet. We are working on virtual services and virtual offerings for the public. We realize that as great as this is for oncology patients, everyone can use some self-care, especially right now. So stay tuned. We do have a newsletter you can sign up for on our website. And our website is www.lipstickangels.org. Follow along with us on all the fun things that we're doing.
Wonderful. Let's see. One question, something that you didn't cover today, but a question. Are there any brands of makeup setting spray that you recommend?
Yeah, so being a beauty junkie and having worked in the beauty world a long time, I feel like this is a very controversial product. A lot of beauty sprays that you see are actually facial mists. So they're like floral waters. And why they call them a setting spray is because the water helps bind the product to your skin when you just let it air dry. There are some setting sprays, like drag queens will use hairspray, and that's like a lot more adhesive and a lot more of a like setting spray. But that's also, hairspray is not very safe or non-toxic. So long story short, you don't need a technical setting spray. Doing a facial mist, like a floral water, not a toner, but a facial floral water or facial mist, is a great setting spray. And I'm happy to name some as well too. One in particular I love is Josh Rosebrook. He makes a hydrating accelerator that's great. And Herbivore makes some really wonderful facial mists as well too.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
The eyebrow pencil that was sent out, is that universal for all skin tones?
No, so we do have different shades. This is actually made specifically for, this one is made specifically for Lipstick Angels from Wonder Skin. So I'm not sure if they are selling this to other partners. But this one that I was using is an Anastasia Beverly Hills pencil, and they do sell them in different shades. This is the darkest shade. This is ebony. So typically you want your brow pencil to be lighter and to have like an ashier tone. So I would probably go with like a light brown or a blonde for my hair color.
Okay. And if somebody was missing an item from the bags that were sent out, is there a way that they could get those?
I would have them reach out to us and see, and we can try to work something out for that, just depending.
Okay. Wonderful. And last question, unless anybody else has questions they're typing in. Another thing that wasn't covered, but you might have some insight on, do you know any non-toxic hair coloring products?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So this market is growing more and more every day, every year. Even in the last 3 years, it's had tremendous growth. I don't know off the top of my head any brands per se. I know that people do hair dye with henna, that's something that you can have a skilled colorist do for you. That's a natural alternative, but it's very limiting. Like you can't do blonde highlights with dark henna. So it's really only for people looking to go darker. But I would just suggest keep checking in, keep asking, reach out to Credo and see if they know. They might have a better idea than myself, but it's a really great question.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you again, Abigail, so much for your time and for teaching us these tools. It looks like that's all the questions we have.
All right. Thank you all so much. It was such a pleasure practicing some self-care with you all. I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference, and thank you so much for having us here today.